this is Frode and welcome back to Actualize Notes TV. Today we have the great book, Moral Letters to Lucilius by Seneca. Moral Letters to Lucilius. Seneca was a Roman statesman, he was a Stoic philosopher, he was incredibly wealthy, and he was an advisor to the Emperor Nero, who later exiled him, and I believe exiled him, or that might be some other emperors, but at last Nero compelled Seneca to suicide. Bad ending. Anyway, this book is packed with letters that Seneca sent to his friend, young friend Lucilius, and he was teaching him how to live a good life, in short. So if you're into that, aren't we all who are into personal development, then I think you'll love the book. For now, let's have a look at a few of my favorite practical ideas. The first one is habits. Throughout all of his books, Seneca is really brutal against bad habits, vices. And in this book he uses really brutal images. It says that you should use the strength of your heart to resist the temptations like excessive food, drinking, or sex, or all things like that. And if you're not able to do this, then you can pluck out your heart also. He has a similar wording in his book On the Shortness of Life, where he says that the philosopher Fabianus was a more old-fashioned philosopher. He didn't care as much about the beautiful words and texts and images and the words we use to talk about philosophy, how to live. He was more old-fashioned and straightforward. He said that we had to attack the passions, in other words, the bad habits and our temptations, with brute force. The enemy's lines are not turned by pinpricks and just nipping away at habits, but by, again, brute force. For some, this works to just jump into stopping a bad habit completely. For others, it's better to wade into it. But what research has shown in later years, which Roy Baumeister talks about in his book Willpower, is that if you want to stop a bad habit, you have to make really bright lines. If you want to stop drinking, for example, you're gonna make the bright line, I'm never going to drink again, or I am going to drink 1 drink maximum per day. Those are bright lines. A fuzzy line is, I'm going to drink more moderately. I'm just now not going to drink as much as I did anymore. What are your bright lines? To install the good habits. Next big idea is purpose. Seneca talks about the supreme good. And the supreme good is the chief purpose of your life. The meaning of why you are put down here on earth. Robert Greene, author of the book Mastery, calls it your life's task. Napoleon Hill, author of the book Think and Grow Rich, calls it your definite major purpose. What is your noble mission on this earth that you are here to fulfill? That's the purpose. And Seneca also makes it really clear that if you don't know what the overall goal in your life is, then it becomes really hard to structure down the details, like your relationships, how you're going to eat, how you're going to sleep, how you're going to talk to other people and be with them, how you're going to spend your time. It becomes very hard to arrange all those things if you don't know why you're doing all those things, how they relate to your chief purpose. For example, my purpose is to help people actualize. That way I need to eat, move, and sleep optimally. Those are universal fundamentals that all of us really should exercise to have a lot of energy, and they help me read, write, and teach more. So I structure my days around those things: eat, move, sleep, read, write, teach, basically. And also gonna have relationships and all sorts of things like that, but they all relate to my definite major purpose, and that makes everything cohere quite well. So how are you doing on this? What is your purpose? And how is your day going to look like in order to fulfill that purpose most powerfully. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. And then we have virtue. This is what Seneca calls man's unique good. So we have the supreme good, which is your purpose, and then man's unique good, which is living with virtue. And virtue is the English word for the Greek word arete. It can also be translated into excellence, but it has a deeper meaning. As I often talk about in these videos, living at your highest potential moment to moment. In other words, always striving to actualize your potential, to become all that you are capable of being. But as Maslow asks in his book Farther Reaches of Human Nature, what does a person do when one actualizes? Does he grit his teeth and squeeze? No, we don't gotta get all anxious and try to do all sorts of things that we aren't currently doing. We just have to apply a few principles of the self-actualizing person. And he has 8 behaviors, I think, of the self-actualizers. A few important of them are having a purpose that is bigger than yourself, which is serving other people. Trying to be as good as possible at what you do. You want to be the best in your field. And living true to yourself. You are choosing what you're going to do with your life yourself. You don't only listen to your teachers, your coworkers, your friend, or your parents. You're the one who chooses what you do with your life. Are you? And that helps you live with virtue, at your highest potential, moment to moment. Fourth big idea is philosophy. Now, philosophy does not have a very good representation for many people in many people's mind. It gives you the image maybe of an old, crusty guy with a long white beard who is boring and talks with a monotonous voice. But philosophy for the Stoics was really practical wisdom on how to live. Doing philosophy was learning how to live. And it says, philosophy does the going, and wisdom is the goal. Where philosophy is reading and writing and reflecting on all these concepts and learning how we can live and actualize our potential. And wisdom is the embodied experience of doing those things. You might know you need to have 8 hours of sleep in order to feel great during the days. That's only philosophy, until you turn it into wisdom, when you actually sleep 8 hours each night. So it is for everything we do. So philosophy does the going and wisdom is the goal. I say to you, philosophy is a worthy pursuit in life. I mean wisdom, through philosophy. And by the way, philosophy comes from I think it's the Latin words so philos, which means love, and Sophia, which means wisdom. Therefore, a philosopher is a lover of wisdom. Fourth big idea is obstacles. Check in on how are you doing on the philosophy side of things. Reading, reflecting, trying out new ways of living. See what works, what doesn't. So, a last big idea, obstacles. Seneca has a really beautiful image of how obstacles can't stop us from doing what we have chosen to do. So, just like the cloud can't, it does stop the rays of the sun from hitting the earth. But what it doesn't stop is the operations of the sun itself. The sun will keep on doing what it's supposed to be doing, even though there are clouds stopping it from reaching the earth. And just the same way, obstacles can't hinder us from living with virtue, from doing those things that we have decided is important to us. Even though we might feel really tired when we wake up, then we will take that as data and prioritize more sleep the next day. But we will still do the things that we have chosen to do. We might feel really resistant to doing our deep work. Check out that Deep Work by Cal Newport. Feel resistant to do that, but we still just get started because we have chosen that that's important to us. That obstacle of resistance cannot stop what we're doing. It can only stop how gracious it seems and how effortless it seems. Think about how you are doing on this, taking committed action regardless of obstacles. And Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic philosopher who was also an emperor, says that he takes it a step further and says that we can actually gain strength from obstacles. Just like when you throw something into a small fire, it rapidly gets extinguished. But if you throw something into a huge flame, then it becomes even stronger as a consequence that you throw something into it. Same with us. When you throw obstacles in our way, we can choose to get stronger. We can also choose to whine and feel sorry for ourselves and just become weaker. Which of those do you choose? That's obstacles. Philosophy does the going, wisdom is the goal. Read, write and reflect, journal, do whatever you need to. Try out what works and what doesn't, and gain the embodied wisdom of how to live a good life. Virtue, you'll live with virtue, manage to make good, through living at your highest potential moment to moment. Not through gritting your teeth and just squeezing, but through doing those daily actions that you need to do in order to fulfill your purpose, moment to moment, and you have bright lines for your habits. What are you going to do? What are you not? Make those bright lines so your future self will be able to notice them when you have crossed those lines, or not. Alright, that was a quick look at moral letters to Lucilius. Think about the one idea that most resonated with you. Which one was it? That inspired you to take some action. Now, get clear on the one single step you can take. The first step you can take towards embodying the idea more in your life, starting today. Philosophy. In order to gain wisdom. As always, looking forward to share more wisdom with you soon. And I want you to have an awesome day as we optimize and actualize. See ya.